How in fact did he get injured? After all the training was over. It was only a couple days out from the Olympia, and so how could it have happened? Did he fall, trip? No. Was he lifting maximum weights, training too hard in the gym? Consider this. The last few days for the Olympia, what are bodybuilders doing all of the time? And so in today's video, an injury on Chris Bumstead's bicep injury. Several people have pointed out that Chris Bumstead's bicep injury actually happened only a few days prior to the Mr. Olympia. And so whatever we saw weeks ago, it had nothing to do with this. And so what we saw, the redness, the swelling, the lack of ability to pose the bicep properly, that relates to a bicep injury that Chris Bumstead sustained only days prior to the Mr. Olympia. All you have to do is look at his arm. Look at it in his fully flexed state. Does that look as lean as you would expect for a guy with 4% body fat? Just take a look. Look at it. Does that look like a shredded arm? Or does it look more like an off-season arm? Coach Greg off-season arm looks as lean as Chris. How is that possible? Chris far leaner, but you can see the swelling. And so Chris had an MRI done. An MRI is a scan to see the soft tissue. An X-ray, you only see the bone. And so in the X-ray, it revealed a partially torn bicep on the medial side of the short head of the bicep. And so quick anatomy lesson. Biceps means there's two muscles. And so quite literally, you can poke a hole between your bicep. On the inside towards my armpit, down here, that is the short head. The long head, it's back up there. And so Chris, on the inside of the bicep towards the elbow, he partially tore his bicep. And so the good news is it's not completely torn. If that were the case, it would in fact need surgery. You can't magically heal a torn muscle without surgery. And so even with healing peptides such as TB500 or BPC157, you can't magically heal a torn bicep. But if it's partially torn, it's still intact, and you add in these peptides, you can in fact heal up faster than last time. Why did Chris get injured? Was he lifting maximum weights, training too hard in the gym? No. And so although Chris likes to train with heavy weights, and we've seen him sustain a number of injuries, most recently in the quad training for this year's Olympia, previous Olympias, the hamstrings, shoulders, knees, the guy trains like an animal, but as he's getting older and smarter, he has to train safer and smarter than last time. And so how in fact did he get injured? After all the training was over. It was only a couple days out from the Olympia, and so how could it have happened? Did he fall, trip? No. And so consider this. The last few days for the Olympia, what are bodybuilders doing all of the time? Posing. When you're preparing for the show, you no longer need to train in the gym, but you really need to hone in and keep posing. The difference between winning and losing a show comes down to how well can you pose. And so Chris would have been going through all the poses for probably an hour each and every day. And when you're posing, you're actually flexing as hard as you can. It's an isometric contraction. That is where there's no lengthening or shortening of the muscle. And so you're doing a front double bicep flexing for all you got. You can quite literally tear a bicep just doing a bicep pose. And so possibly doing a front double bicep, back double bicep, or side chest, you're flexing the bicep with 100% of your abilities. And consider this. The last week before the competition, what are all athletes preparing to do? They're preparing to dry out and peak for the stage. That means they're limiting their water intake and they're taking estrogen blockers. Remember, this is a non-tested sport and many of the athletes are in fact using performance-enhancing drugs. Newsflash, shocking, right? And so what typically would be done for a bodybuilder is rather than taking testosterone, they would stop. Testosterone converts to estrogen, and estrogen can make you hold water. And so in the days, weeks prior to the competition, you would dramatically reduce your intake of testosterone. And not only that, you're taking anti-estrogens or estrogen blockers. For example, you may be taking tamoxifen, Arimidex, or Femra, which is letrozole. These compounds will dramatically reduce or inhibit the effects of estrogen. And so with less estrogen, you're going to be even more dry. With more dryness comes an increased risk of injury. And so in the days and weeks prior to competition, it is imperative that you train extremely cautiously. It is so easy to get injured, as is the case with Chris Bumstead. And I just want to make it clear. Clearly, I'm not Chris Bumstead's doctor. I'm not his brother, although I look exactly like him. After all, he is in fact a black natural athlete. And so at this point, it's not 100% confirmed, but multiple sources have stated that this is what's going on. And so when I was injured in the past or coached other athletes, what I would suggest is to use TB 500 or BPC 157. These are healing peptides that can dramatically increase the rate of healing from an injury. Coupled with growth hormone that can also speed up the rate of injury repair, as well as the use of stem cells, I do believe that Chris Bumstead can make a 100% full and easy recovery. Typically, a partial tear to a bicep will take approximately 8 to 10 weeks to heal completely from, but you do need to be cautious. Once you in fact start getting injuries like this, you are more susceptible to getting them in the future. And so doing 405-pound bicep curls with a guy like Calum, remember that, Chris Bumstead? Probably not a smart idea. Any activity like that could predispose for a future injury. And so you might not have gotten injured in that particular moment, but it can in fact build up over time, and continuously lifting heavy or perhaps ego lifting, that can lead to an injury down the road. And so if Chris wants to continue to earn the title, he needs to stay injury free. If he starts tearing biceps, quads, and so on, he's simply not going to have the body that he once had. He needs to train lighter, focus on time under tension, and quality repetitions. He has plenty of muscle, plenty of size. He is a shoo-in to win so long as he shows up in shape and does not get injured. Wishing Chris the best as he heals up from this injury, ending it here. And we're having a huge sale, up to 50% off the entire store, including Cookbook 2.0. Please go click the link in the description. Remember, code Greg gives you 10% off in addition to all this. Take advantage of the sale right now before the sale is over. Stock up, get the book, get it to all your friends, get more supplements than last time. And in particular, GO2 Max, don't forget, this is the last run. The pre-order is available. Our manufacturers are allowed to make one more order, and that's it. The FDA said that's all you're allowed. Can't produce it anymore. NMN, the main ingredient, shown in studies to be so effective. Don't have time to explain it. Watch my other videos. Go read the studies. This you don't want to miss out on if you want anti-aging, better cardio than last time, burn more fat. This is the supplement for you. Subscribe and click the bell button. Did you do it? Like the video. Like the video right now. Just press that button. Watch one of these two bloops. Follow me on Instagram, Greg Doucette IFBB Pro. And until next time, I am out.